It's a great day to be in real estate. This is Duane, sales manager and sales representative for ERA Real Estate. For the quote of the day, some people say that dreaming gets you nowhere in life, but I say you can't get anywhere in life without dreaming, by Rose Zadra. And for the joke of the day, Bob walked into a sports bar almost at 10 o'clock at night. He sat down next to a blonde at the bar and stared up at the TV. The 10 p.m. news was coming on. The news crew was still covering the story of a man on the ledge of a large building preparing to jump. The blonde looked at Bob and said, "Do you think he'll jump?" Bob said, "I'll bet he jumps." The blonde said, "Well, I bet he won't." So Bob placed a $20 bill on the bar and said, "You're on." Just as the blonde placed her money on the bar, the guy on the ledge did a swan dive off the building, falling to his death. The blonde was very upset, but willingly handed over $20 to Bob, saying, "Fair's fair, here's your money." Bob replied, "I can't take your money. I saw this earlier on the 5 p.m. news, so I knew he would jump." The blonde replied, "I saw it too, but I didn't think he'd jump again." So Bob took the money. Anyway, for Duane's Real Estate News, there is a big push on Capitol Hill in terms of lobbying for real estate reforms. NAR, National Association of Realtors, is asking Congress to strengthen the Federal Housing Administration, extend the FHA's high-cost loan limits, and get flood and disaster insurance reforms passed as a part of their push on Capitol Hill this week during their 2010 mid-year legislative meeting and trade expo. Several thousand realtors are in town and will be meeting with members of Congress over the 2 days this week. And here's a partial list of what they're going to be covering. Well, first, support for small business. Realtors would like to see the government help small businesses get much needed financing by allowing federal credit unions to loan a higher percentage of their assets than they can now. This increase is needed to help offset the difficulty small businesses are facing in getting loans from banks. Number two, stronger commercial market. Extending the term asset-backed securities loan facility, which is also known as TALF, will help improve commercial mortgage market liquidity and push Congress to act quickly on reauthorizing funds for the popular Rural Housing Service, or RHS, Section 502 Loan Guarantee Program, which is on the verge of running out of money. Number three, various FHA reforms. Legislation to strengthen the FHA would allow the agency to increase its annual mortgage insurance premium, which borrowers can fold into the loan amount. FHA Commissioner David Stearns has said that once the agency has that authority, it will be able to reduce its upfront mortgage insurance premium, which it raised several months ago to meet congressionally mandated reserve requirements. The upfront premium hurts borrowers more because it has to be paid in full at closing. The FHA legislation would also give the agency more tools for enforcing rules against bad lenders. The legislation has passed the House Financial Services Committee. NAR's goal is to put the bill on fast-track passage in the House and then get it introduced and passed in the Senate as soon as possible. NAR is also seeking to make the FHA's high-cost loan limits permanent. The limits, now at $729,750, expire in the fall of this year. If the limits aren't extended, then they would drop to about $417,000. Too low to make the FHA a viable financing option in many of the larger metropolitan areas like Boston, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Washington, and New York. Okay, next is the flood disaster insurance. The reforms NAR is seeking of the National Flood Insurance and Disaster Insurance Programs aim to strengthen the private insurer's role in handling most disasters, reserving federal involvement as a backstop. Realtors will be asking their members of Congress to pass legislation in the House before Memorial Day. Then attention would turn to the Senate. Also, the next thing would be helping the commercial securities market recover. The commercial market mortgage-backed securities, or CMBS market, which for years has been the principal means of getting financing into the commercial markets, is starting to come back, yet new CMBS issues remain only a fraction of the volume that's needed to meet demand. NAR is calling on the government to extend its TALF program at the end of this year so investors will have a low-cost loan available to them to invest in commercial securities at a time when a lot of uncertainty remains about the strength of the market. Next is preventing bad amendments. The big focus of Congress now is financial services reform. The bill is huge in scope, but only a part of it directly concerns real estate. Realtors have been successful in defeating draconian amendments, including one that would have required all borrowers to put down a minimum of 5%. Supporters of that amendment and the other tough measures that could hurt housing including a defeated amendment that would have ended federal control of secondary mortgage market companies, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, in the near future, are expected to be introduced again at different junctures of the legislative process. So realtors will be sharing with their members of Congress the danger of these requirements that they would pose to the market right now. Next, careful treatment of Fannie and Freddie. NAR's position on Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac reform is that it must be taken up separately next year and must be undertaken carefully. Realtors oppose ending federal control before a structure is in place to ensure the availability of mortgage financing in the market in good times and in bad, which is the role the two companies are playing today. By the way, as always, right now is the best buyer's market you and I will ever see in our lifetime, so if you or anybody you know is looking to buy or sell a home anywhere in the world, let us know. Here at ERA we have global reach. Thank you for listening today. This is Duane signing off. Happy trails to you. As always, proud to be an American. Thank you for joining us.